Hello peeps and welcome back to Big Deck Player with me, Matt Sparks. On today's show we are taking a look at a hunter deck. This was posted on Hearthstone by Sparkaz, who I've featured some decks from before in the past, and he's makes some very good decks. This is called Yogg'Saron. Okay, so the first thing about this deck is that it doesn't have very many minions, which is surprising to say the least, which is kind of why I wanted to try this deck out, because it was unlike any other hunter deck I've played, and unlike many other decks I've played at all. So it was quite an interesting looking deck, and it seems to be pretty good. Sparkaz, or Spark, is a Legend player from France, and he's been playing this at Legend, so I was like, well, it can't be that bad then. It can't be that bad, which is why I wanted to try it out. Alright, so let's start at the top and work our way down. So we start off, we have 2 Hunter's Mark to reduce a minion's health to 1. This is quite nice to combo with the next card, also at 1 mana, on the Hunt, which deals 1 damage and summons a 1/1 Mastiff. So on turn 2, or just for 2 mana, it doesn't have to be on turn 2, just for 2 mana you can reduce something's health to 1 and then kill it off with on the Hunt. That's pretty effective. That means no matter how big a creature your opponent plays, you can get rid of it with just 2 mana, which is very, very cool. There's not many other things you can say can do that. Also at 1 mana we have 2 tracking. So these allow you to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you can draw 1, but you discard the other 2, which kind of sucks because you lose those cards, but it can help in a pinch to get maybe some removal that you need. I would suggest not playing tracking unless you actually need to find something. At 2 mana we have 2 bear traps, and we also have 2 explosive traps. Now these are not the only traps that we have. We also have a snipe as well. So we have 5 traps in total. Also at 2 mana we have 2 lock and load. Now this is where all the spells come into effect and come into play, because each time you cast a spell it adds a random hunter card to your hand. So this is where all your card draw comes from, essentially, because you're not, well, I say card draw, you're not actually drawing any cards, you're creating new ones. So you don't need to worry too much about card draw, because you'll be getting cards through lock and load. This also combos with quite nicely with stuff like the Hunter's Mark and on the hunt and tracking and the coin. If you go second and you get the coin, you can always keep the coin for when you use lock and load. Because there's 2 of these in this deck, it does kind of bump the crafting cost up quite a bit, because they're both epics, but it's still a very, very powerful card in this deck. Also at 2 mana we have 2 quick shots. So this deals 3 damage, and if your hand is empty you draw a card. It's unlikely that your hand will be empty with this deck because of stuff like lock and load, so you're probably just going to get the 3 damage. It's nice removal for early game stuff. As I mentioned earlier, we've got the snipe. I like to try and play this around turn 4 or turn 5, because that's when you start seeing creatures with sort of 4 health coming out, and this will then just take them out completely. But it all depends on what your opponent is playing. I mean, if you're playing a shaman, then it might be worth trying to get this out on turn 1 with a coin maybe, so just in case your opponent, if he's playing a shaman, decides to play like the totem golem, for example, on their turn, and this will take it out, and they'll still be overloaded. Alright, so we have a King's Elic. We only have 1, so you kind of want a mulligan for this if you can, because it's very useful to have, because you've only got 2 other minions. So you should always win the joust, as it is, with the King's Elic. You've got a 6 mana minion and a 10 mana minion, and that's it. So you should win. Alright, 3 mana. 2 Eagle Horn Bows, because you've got 5 secrets, so it kind of makes sense to have Eagle Horn Bows, and plus, you know, it's pretty good. It's like a Fiery War Axe that's slightly more expensive, but you can increase the durability with the secrets and stuff, so I like it. It's probably best to try and keep the board clear and use this for removal rather than going for your opponent's face, unless of course you have plenty of spells and stuff, or you're getting low on health, in which case it's probably not a good idea to take more damage. Also at 3 mana we have 2 Animal Companions, because it's a hunter deck and Animal Companion is amazing. Plus, you know, it's a spell that gives you a minion, so it's not a minion card, it's a spell card. Also at 3 mana we have 2 Deadly Shots. Sometimes this can be a bit tricky, because it obviously is a random enemy minion, so sometimes it's a bit tricky to get it to go onto the one that you want it to. Sometimes I just find that I'm having my fingers crossed when I play it and just hoping that it hits the right thing. At 3 mana we have 2 power shots, so this deals do 2 damage to a minion and the minions next to it, which is especially effective against shaman decks that have totems and stuff, because most of them have 2 health, so that's quite nice. And early game removal, it's very, very useful. I would suggest trying to get this in your mulligan, in your opening hand as well, just because a lot of things have 2 damage, 2 health at that kind of range, especially the mage decks that have been going around recently that have like the Sorcerer's Apprentice and the other mage card that I can't remember the name of, that is also a 3/2. At 3 mana also we have to Unleash the Hounds, because, you know, why not? It's a very good way of being able to get some stuff on the board. At 6 mana, it's a bit of a jump, we have Emperor Thaurissan. So this is one of the 3 minions, but one of the 2 that you can draw with the King's Alec. So a 6 mana creature, got a good chance of winning the joust with the 6 mana creature, because your opponents are likely to be playing decks that have quite a lot of minions in. And so because you've only got 2 others that you can draw on when you play your King's Alec, you've got a 6 mana and a 10 mana, so chances are you're probably going to win the joust. I've won the joust every time so far that I've used the King's Alec. So, and every time it's been the Emperor Thaurissan as well, which is weird but cool. So Emperor Thaurissan is really good, especially if you've just used like Lock and Load and you've got like a bunch of cards in your hand, and then you put out Emperor Thaurissan to make them more cheaper. That's really cool. The next card is an 8 mana Call of the Wild. 2 of those. So Call of the Wild is for 8 mana. It summons all 3 of your animal companions. So it's already cheaper than using Animal Companion 3 times. But if you can get Emperor Thaurissan out while you've got this in your hand, it can make it even cheaper, so you can play it earlier, which is great. And if you can play it while you've already got other minions on the board, that makes it even better, because obviously you get Leok, who gives +1 attack to all other minions. Very, very nice indeed. And then finally, to round it off, we have Yogg'Saron, Hope's End, and his battle cry, in case you hadn't already seen from all the millions of videos. It casts a random spell for each spell that you've cast this game. Target's chosen randomly, which can sometimes backfire. To be perfectly honest with you, most of the times that I've lost with this deck has been as a result of Yogg'Saron screwing me over. It's like it's come down to the wire and it's getting really close between me and my opponent, and I've thought, right, let's go for the big play, let's play Yogg'Saron, and then he's screwed me. He's either drawn too many cards so that I go into fatigue, or he'll cast that Warlock spell that does like 9 damage or something, but it does it mostly to my face, and most of the time he's brilliant. Most of the time he's great, and he'll win you the game. But sometimes he just says, do you know what, screw you, you're going down. It's a slightly different playstyle to what I'm used to playing, which kind of makes it a bit more interesting and a bit more fun for me. And I have had a lot of fun with it, and I've had a lot of success with it too. So that's the deck. That is the Yogg and Load deck. There will be a link in the description which will take you to Hearthstone, so you can go and check this deck out for yourself. Be sure to head over there and give them a plus rating, because these people that make all these cool decks deserve to be acknowledged for doing well. There's a great write-up over there, probably better than anything that I've just told you about, with good ideas for how to go against other kind of decks like Mid-Range Shaman and the Face Shaman, Control Warriors, Tempo Mages, all that kind of stuff. There's a bunch of other videos there as well, so be sure to check them out. Yeah, let me know how you get on if you use this deck, because I'd love to hear how it works for you. And also, if you have any recommendations for future decks for Big Deck Player, feel free to let me know about those too. So that's it. Have fun with this deck. I will be continuing to have fun with this deck because it's been great so far. And I will see you again next week on another Big Deck Player. Thanks again. Bye bye.